There are some people who are speaking about freezing the current war between Russia and Ukraine. And as they are mostly Russian proxies or Russians themselves, so you can understand that who will be the beneficiary of this freezing, because it will allow Russia to have some breathing room, to reconstitute their army, to rebuild their equipment right now because their economy already on the war footing, and in several years, for example, in 3 years, they will have a newly rebuilt army with a lot of new equipment, and then they can strike at the time and place of their choosing and take everybody or Ukrainians us by surprise. Let's talk about how much equipment they can produce during these, for example, 3 years of breathing time, of breathing space that they will be given if the current, fighting line, the line of fighting is freezed and there will be no fighting for some time. For example, for 3 years. We will assume that they will have the current rate of production, but it is a bit of a stretch, of course, uh, and they will not, do it more efficiently or in a bigger rate. Right now, for example, for tanks, they can make about from 100 to 150 tanks, new tanks every month. But actually, it is not new tanks. They are mostly taken from they are refurbished, taken from. There are some of them are new, like T90s, probably, which are made in Ural Vagon Zavod, but the rest are just taken from storage, refurbished, put some new, for example, size, some new equipment. They upgrade it a little bit to make it more usable, and then they are sent to the front line, so they can do it they can produce in such a way about 100 to 150 pieces each month. Also, the same amount for infantry fighting vehicles. I mean, BTRs, BMD, BMPs, 150. But actually, they need 3 times as much, because in their doctrine they will need to have 3 infantry fighting vehicles per one tank. So per one tank. About the artillery, they can produce about again mostly take from storage, about 300 pieces per month, and it will be all the calibers. It will be 152, 122, 100 millimeters, and 85 millimeters. Even they're taking these older pieces from storage, as they do, for example, with T54 tanks or T62 tanks, which are obsolete right now. But they are taking them from storage and they are putting them into battlefield in Ukraine. So, if we extrapolate these figures for 3 years, then we will have for example, for tanks, we will have from 3,600 to 5,400. So if we have upper limit, it means almost twice as much as they had at the beginning of this war. And we are speaking about pieces already in the units, ready to go, not in storage. They were already taken from storage and given to military units. And the same amount of infantry fighting vehicles, but for infantry fighting vehicles, they will not be able to replenish all their losses they had from the beginning of this war, because they lost about more than 10,000 of such pieces of infantry fighting vehicles. So, but still, they will have more than they have now. They have about 5,000 of them more. And just don't forget that if we speak about infantry fighting vehicles, that, for example, we received about, I think, 100 Bradleys only from United States. I mean, or maybe I'm wrong, maybe even less. I mean, you see the numbers there. Also, for towed artillery, because towed artillery, I mean, the artillery that you just attach to the truck and then tow to the position, not self-propelled artillery. They will have, in 3 years, they will have 11,000 pieces more of artillery that can, already in the unit, they can, shoot at our troops. And we are not speaking about, the missiles that they can produce during this time. And at current rate, in 3 years, they will have about more than 2,000 of, those missiles who are fired from the planes, the cruise missiles type Ha-101, for example. They will have more than 2,000 of them. And they will have about 1,500 of caliber missiles. Caliber, they are also cruise missiles, but they are fired from ships mostly. Ships. Sorry, ship and ship. Okay. And if we speak about, Iranian type of drones that will be produced either in Iran or in Russia, because they are supposedly already producing them in Russia. We're speaking about 9,000 pieces, 9,000 drones that can, if they, for example, send all 9,000 drones into direction of Ukraine, we will have really huge problem there. So, when they have all of this, or when they amass all of this, what can they do with it? For example, they can, one of the scenarios will be them making land bridge, not to Crimea, but to Transnistria, taking Kherson, Mykolaiv and Odessa, and having a land bridge to Transnistria and, connect this enclave in Transnistria to Russia. And afterwards, you just, can imagine that Moldova will be a history, because they cannot, if there is a conflict now between Transnistria and Moldova, without any help from outside, Moldova will lose. Probably, because they have less army and less equipment, military equipment, than the people who, the army that Russian proxy army that is now in Transnistria. Or they can, for example, again try to seize Kiev, or they, after that, they, for example, can turn to Georgia and Armenia and take these two small countries and take control of Transcaucasian countries. I'm not speaking about Azerbaijan, because probably it will not be possible because of Turkey, but we know that, for example, if they do it together with Iran, because Iran and Azerbaijan have really big, problems between themselves, because northern part of Iran is actually also, Azerbaijan. That the lands that were people who are ethnically Azerbaijanians, they are living there, so they can, take out Azerbaijan together with Russia. And don't forget about for example, Kazakhstan, because right now they have the Kazakhstan, if they are in conflict with Russia, they are undefensible. They have a very broad, very lengthy north border with Russia, and the northern part of Kazakhstan are ethnically Russian mostly quite a lot of ethnic Russians are living there in northern part of Kazakhstan. So probably, yeah, it will be a problem with them. And after, if Russia takes some territories from Ukraine and from other former Soviet republics, and then, digest them, take a lot of new mobilization potential. The people they can mobilize, recruit, or draft, or whatever, conscript into their army, then they will have a bigger threat to the more Western neighbors, like Poland, like Czech Republic, like Slovaks, like Hungary. Hungary thinks that they will be eaten last, but they are mistaken. They are mistaken, and we are not saying about Baltic states that are in very vulnerable position right now. Okay, so well, actually, that's all I wanted to say today. I mean, the freezing of the conflict is very dangerous idea who plays right into Russians' hands, and we should avoid it at all cost, because freezing of this war will not mean the end of the war. It will mean the breathing time for Russians so that they can accumulate more people and more resources and more equipment, and then strike at the time and place of their choosing. Okay, thank you for watching. Goodbye. Till next time, and Slava Ukraini.